Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to all the viewers and teachers out there. Thank you for watching us on JEDLR, Johor English Digital Learning Resources YouTube channel. Today we proudly present you another series of webinar, JDT Award Winners, Let's Do the Impossible. I'm Muhammad Ermi bin Muhammad Kasah, Assistant Director of Languages, the Learning Sector, Johor State Education Department, will be your moderator for today's webinar. Before we make a start, I would like to mention a few gentle reminders. Please use the stable internet connection for the optimum viewing. You may use any kind of devices such as your handphones, smartphones, your laptop, or maybe your tablet. All right, you as viewers may post questions in the comment section on YouTube, right? So don't forget to drop any comments or questions in the comment section. Right, after that, we're gonna have the Q&A session. The Q&A session will be conducted after the sharing session. So again, don't forget to ask question by typing out your question in the comment section. This is the most interesting part. Do you know that by watching our webinar, you can earn professional development credit in SPL KPM? How are you going to do that? Just watch this live webinar until the end. And after that, we will share with all of you the QR code and the link. So you just scan the QR code and go to the link. Then after that, you just need to key in your IC number. Ta-da! So now you have earned professional development credit in SPL KPM. It's just as easy and as ABC, right? So you might be wondering, what are the objectives of our today's webinar? First is to inspire all the English teachers out there, not only from Johor, but all over Malaysia, to step up their games and do the impossible efforts. Another objective is to encourage teacher sharing session among English teachers in order to create more relaxed and effective professional development. In order to achieve of these objectives, we have three guest speakers, three beautiful ladies who will share their best practices with all of you today. First, I would like to welcome Cikgu Amnahmalihah binti Marzuki, an English teacher from SK Tanah Abang, Mersing. She is the second runner-up HIP Finco Outstanding Teacher Competition 2020. Hi, Cikgu Amnah.
Hi, Mr. Ermi. Hi, everyone.
How are you doing there?
Yeah, I'm good here.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see you later, yeah?
All right.
Thank you, Cikgu Amnah. Another speaker is Cikgu Khairunnisa binti Sharom. She is an English teacher in SK Taman Bukit Dahlia, Pasir Gudang, the guru icon hebat for SK Negeri Johor for 2020. Hi, Cikgu Khairunnisa.
Hi, Mr. Ermi.
I believe that you have a lot to share with all the teachers out there, yeah?
Yeah, I have everything to share.
All right, thank you, Cikgu Khairunnisa. I'll see you later. Okay, last but not least, this is Cikgu Emira Nabila binti Ramli. She has shared a lot of things on our first webinar, and she's an English teacher from SMK Pasir Gudang, and she's the second runner-up Anugerah Guru Adiwira for 21st Century Learning and Guru Edufluencer for 2019. Hi, Cikgu Emira.
Hi, Mr. Ermi.
You look great, yeah, today?
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, from this webinar, you might be thinking of what did they do and what inspired them to do all the outstanding efforts, and what were the setbacks and how did they overcome them. I believe that all these questions, including all the beautiful efforts and patience, will be shared during the sharing session, as we have two parts of our webinar. The first part is the sharing session, and the second part is a question and answer session. So again, don't forget to ask questions and do comments in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, without wasting any time, I would like to present you our first speaker, Cikgu Amnahmalihah binti Marzuki from SK Tanah Abang, Mersing, to share her best practices for the first slot. Your stage, this is your stage now, Cikgu Amnah.
All right, thank you. All right, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the learning sector, JPN Johor and JEDLR for having me here. It is such an honor for me, and I hope everyone is doing fine. So today I'm going to share with you guys about how I conducted my lesson using low to no technology. But before that, let me introduce you about the previous competition that I joined. All right, it is HIP FINCO Outstanding Teacher Competition 2020, and FINCO stands for the Financial Industry Collective Outreach. It is actually a collaborative initiative pioneered by all financial institutions in Malaysia with the guidance of Bank Negara Malaysia. And the competition is open to all primary school teachers in Malaysia. And it is actually to celebrate teachers' effort and their best practices in adopting new approaches to learning, to teaching and learning during MCO. Right. So I'm going to share what's inspired me to join HIP FINCO competition. It actually everything starts with first time, and it is a series of experience leads me to go further. So my first competition that I've joined is Perkongsian Amalan Terbaik Sekolah Orang Asli Peringkat Negeri Johor in 2018, and I've innovate Mr. Bunny Box. It is a box with 5 activities, and at first I was encouraged by my school headmaster, Cikgu Khairunnisa from SK Tanah Abang. He actually convinced me because at first I was reluctant to join this competition because I'm still new. I'm kind of afraid actually that time, but with his encouragement and my colleagues in SK Tanah Abang, I joined the competition, and Alhamdulillah, I won the first place. And after that, I need to go to national level, and that's where I met amazing people who constantly help me to for the national level. We have of course my colleagues and PPD Mersing, JPN Johor, especially I still remember Mr. Sharom, Mr. Razif, and also Puan Haslina. They give me ideas and how to get better for my competition, and I also was invited as a speaker for SIC Plus program at PBD Mersing. And what I want to share with you here is we actually need to get out from our comfort zone and start to moving forward, because I was surrounded with all amazing people from another indigenous school in Johor. I was surrounded with positive people, so I want to say here that if you surround yourself with positive people who build you up, the sky is limit. And my second innovation is the Kingdom of Broland. It is a peer mentoring program. This one is I challenge myself because before this I was convinced by my school headmaster. So this one is I tried to challenge myself, and I entered the Amalan Terbaik Sekolah Orang Asli on state level in 2019, and I won the second place for that. And then I also invited to be one of the exhibitors for program Cakna Murid Orang Asli Peringkat Kebangsaan 2020. So actually those experience give impacts on my pupils as well, because I've gained lots of ideas and and lots of ideas because of the experience, because I'm still new, but from those competition, I actually gain experience to apply it with my students. So my pupils' achievement was 100% pupils pass UPSR examination for English, and we have 1A and 3B also for English. Other than that, we also have one pupil who continues her study at MRSM. Uh, Apart from that also, I also shared with other teachers. For example, we have Cik Fatin Atira from SK Nita 2 Johor, and then Puan Sharifah Nuliana from SJKC Yuk Choi Perak, and Cik Nurul Ain from SK Bandar Teknologi Kajang. So those experience actually lead me to HIP competition, because I tried before this. I just entered competition for Sekolah Orang Asli, and then so I tried to challenge myself to go further. When I was informed by our PPD Mersing, Puan Hafiza, about this competition, so I joined this competition, and I won the second runner up. So before I start sharing how my lesson, I conducted my lesson during the MCO, I would like to introduce my school first. I'm teaching English in SK Tanah Abang Mersing Johor. It is Sekolah Orang Asli. We have 102 indigenous peoples, 11 teachers, and actually Bahasa Melayu is their second language, because the first language is Bahasa Jakun. So it is not an easy task for me to teach them English. All right, so this is how I'm going to share how the lesson conducted using low technology. Our main platform is WhatsApp. All right, the first one is I'm using authentic materials, because it is easier actually for pupils to get things at their house or surrounding. For this activity, I asked my pupils to create the alphabet, and then while they're creating the alphabet, they need to reproduce the correct phonic sound. So we need to avoid the boring style or the traditional method. Instead of just writing, we can ask them to create the alphabet and reproduce the correct sound. It's actually suitable for year 1 phonics. And next is, it is also activities which involve things at using things at their house and surrounding as well. But for this activity, pupils need to snap a picture of activity they do at home, and then they write simple sentence based on the picture. For these activities, actually, I want them to gain more vocabulary throughout this lesson. So instead of we took pictures from Google or any sources, it is more interesting to use their own picture actually. For this activity it's suitable for all years, but we need to modify according to pupils' level. And next is because we don't want any boring or activities or dull activities, we can provide something that involve movement, so that they were having fun while doing the activity. For example, for this activity, I asked them to create a map first using things at their house, and then they need to take a video on how to use when they are using the map to for example, I asked them to listen and follow the direction using their map. So this is suitable for, I used it last year for year 6 direction. And this one is, instead of plain reading, I asked my pupils to read and act out. For example, if you can see from the video, he is reading, but at the same time, he's act out the words. For example, that one is skiing actually. And then next is jumping. So those activities are for for students with internet. But what about students who don't have any gadgets or internet connection at their house? So what we did was actually the school discussed about these issues, and we came out with this method. We delivered the materials for students. Okay, the teachers will prepare the materials, and then the school will printed the materials, and then the parents or representative will come and take the materials. But for parents who don't have any transport to come to school, we actually have a house representative for each area. For example, in our school, we have pupils with in 3 different areas, which are Kampung Sungai Tuba, Kampung Tanah Abang, and Kampung Tanjung Tuan. So with PIBG and communities help cooperation, with their cooperation, we were able to do this method. First of all, we place the materials at the house representative, and then the PIBG or community will help to distribute the materials, and then they also submit pupils' work through WhatsApp, or if they don't have good connection that time, they will just submit it to school. Okay, next is I prepared my own material, but with help with my colleagues' help, Puan Azrin from SK Tanah Abang. Actually, this is one of the way for me to improve my pupils' vocabulary. For example, this is a video sent by the community actually. He helped me to took some videos of people's while doing her homework. Right. And next is, this one is silly sentence popsicle stick. This is one of the materials that I've put during my previous innovation, Mr. Bunny Box. This is it looks easy, or it looks, maybe it's kind of look easy to use. Actually, it's easy to use. Okay, sorry, it's actually easy to use because we just need popsicle sticks. Or if your student don't have popsicle stick, maybe you can replace it with something like paper or things at their house, because this one is actually I provide for them. It is sponsored by Puan Azian, our PPD, SIC Plus PPD Mersing. So pupils need to arrange the arrange the popsicles according to color, and it will become a sentence. So this actually to help them to build simple sentence easier. And next is, because I don't really have enough time, because this year I'm teaching year 1 to year 6 English, because we don't have enough teachers. So I took some materials from the internet as well, but I printed out because it is easier for me. And then if you can see from the previous slide, actually this method, we need good cooperation from parents and community. So this is where HIP program become a necessary or important program in school. So next is I'm going to share with you guys how we conducted the HIP program in our school before MCO and during the MCO. Okay, first of all, this is Let's Learn Together. For this program, we invited PIBG as a teacher during the extra class for year 6, and it's actually increased PIBG's involvement in improving English proficiency among pupils. And for this one, we have Kingdom of Broland program. This one is teacher provide the task or learning material involve parents, and then parents monitored and taught their children at home. This one is because we need parents to more aware about their pupils' education, and actually it also to encourage parents participation as well, because we need to increase positive behavioral change among pupils toward learning English outside from classroom as well. Right, next is, this is one of the program also. Actually in SK Tanah Abang, last year we was given an opportunity to hold a kedap class. Kedap class is kelas dewasa orang asli and pribumi, and actually it involved parents and also community in Tanah Abang. So from this program, we just include HIP program as well, so that it's easier actually, because we have class and then we also include HIP program. It's like killing one bird with two stones. Okay, killing two birds with one stone, sorry. And then it is to increase parents and community involvement in improving pupils' English proficiency with variety learning materials. And the impact was, it is actually attracted pupils to learn English and also improve relationship among parents, community, and school. For this one, after they make those materials, we actually put it in HIP corner, so that pupils can actually use it. For example, if you can see in the picture, pupils really like the corner, and they also oftenly visit that corner. And this one is during MCO. During MCO, we also conducted a Let's Read online competition. So this competition actually open to all pupils, parents, and community in SK Tanah Abang. This program was conducted using online, because it was during MCO. And luckily and alhamdulillah, we got 41 responses from parents and community and 71 responses from pupils. Actually, this activity is to elevate the development of English proficiency beyond school environment. And also this activity also suitable for pupils, parents, and community. Right. So what I'm going to stress here is we need to practice whole school approach, because we are not alone. I believe that we can do the impossible together. Okay. Before I ended my session, this is my Telegram. If you have anything to share, or you want me to share my materials, you can just PM me and I will give you those materials. And before I ended my session, I would like to thank Mr. Ermi, Encik Hanif, Encik Hakim, and our other two lovely speakers, Khairunnisa and Emira, for helping me preparing this webinar. That's all from me. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Ermi.
Thank you, Cikgu Amna. Congratulations. I have no words to say. What you have done with your team in SK Tanah Abang really impressed me. Okay, so at this challenging period, all teachers out there need to take this opportunity to do what you have done in SK Tanah Abang, yeah. So congratulations again, Cikgu Amna. Okay, don't give up and keep on doing what you have done to your kids in Tanah Abang, yeah.
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay, all right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that there are more teachers are watching us now. As I can see, there are teachers from Terengganu, from Putrajaya, Sarawak. Yeah, so keep sharing this webinar to all your friends out there so that they can benefit from the sharing session we're going to share with all of you, yeah? Okay, so without wasting time, I would like to welcome the first ever Guru Icon Kebat for SK Negeri Johor, Cikgu Khairunnisa. Hi, Cikgu Khairunnisa.
Hi, Ermi.
All right, are you ready to wow them with your presentation and your sharing session?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay, so the stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ermi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon, everyone, to the viewers, to the teachers out there. Okay, now I'm Khairunnisa Sharom. I'm from SK Taman Bukit Dahlia, Pasir Gudang, Johor. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to thank the learning sector of JPN Johor for inviting me to share a bit of my experience on and knowledge on higher order thinking skills. And thank you to JDELR team for hosting this webinar. I'm grateful to be with two amazing teachers, Miss Amna and Miss Emira, to share whatever we have with all of you. Okay, so let us start. Okay, so the background of the award, Guru Icon Kebat Johor. So this award is to give recognition to the teachers that contribute in higher order thinking skills in the school, district, state, national and international level. It is also to encourage teachers to practice higher order thinking skills in the lesson and to encourage teachers to conduct research. So how did I enter in this competition? Mr. Suhairi, the SIC Plus from Pasir Gudang PPD Pasir Gudang, nominated me to enter this competition. He also gave me guidance to success to be in this competition. So and then I attended mini conference for KEBAT in state level. Besides that, my administrators, I would like to give credit to my principal, Mr. Muhammad Senin, and also the administrators and my colleagues for helping me to execute higher order thinking skills in my school. Okay, next. Why higher order thinking skill is important? Okay, it promotes essential skills such as critical thinking, creative thinking, and problem solving. It involves transferable skills that can be essential in a wide variety of contexts. It is part of top 10 skills of 2025. Okay, we can't expect the students to magically have higher order thinking skills in them. So we as a teachers, we should nurture higher order thinking skills in them since they are young. Okay, so these are the top 10 skills of 2025. As you can see there are analytical thinking and also innovation, which go under creative thinking and also critical thinking. So which is also part of higher order thinking skills. So we are preparing the students for the future. Okay, so do you think it's hard to integrate higher order thinking skills in primary classroom? Well, I'm going to share with you some of the higher order thinking skills activities that I've done in my school with my colleagues. Okay, first, I conducted open classroom where there are other teachers from other school observing me. Okay, in this lesson, I utilized a hot seat, higher order thinking skills questions, and also 21st century learning activities. Okay, for example, for the hot seat activity, for this activity, I did a lesson on Princess Kaguya, which was year 5, the last year's year 5 in textbook year 5. So what I did was I asked one student to wear a kimono and she became the Princess Kaguya, and other students asked her questions. So as you can see, we didn't want the students to answer our questions only, but we also want to produce students who can ask relevant questions and who can ask higher order thinking skills question. So at the end of the lesson, pupils able to create their own folk tales based on Princess Kaguya. Okay, next I also did higher order thinking skills best practices sharing session to the other schools in Pasir Gudang. Okay, I also attended state and national higher order thinking skills conference. Okay, since this conference was conducted last year during MCO, so it was online conference. So I presented my research on flipped classroom in this conference. Okay, so in my school, we have this higher order thinking skills lane, which was inspired by our former principal, which is Puan Hajar Zainon, who asked us to make this higher order thinking skills lane. The objectives of this lane is to familiarize the students with higher order thinking skills, so they will have the higher order thinking skills environment. And it is also to showcase students' achievement and to showcase how our school integrated higher order thinking skills, not only in curriculum or pedagogy, but also in co-curricular and also in community. Okay, now I also make this wall of thought board, okay, whereby the students able to practice their argumentative skill and also critical thinking. Okay, how did I conduct this wall of thought board? Okay, there is a topic on board. For example, this one, we have the topic, can money buy you happiness? And there are two sections, which are positive and also negative. During recess, the students will write their opinion, whether they agree or disagree with the topic. Okay, this way, I can instill argumentative skill among students and also to encourage students to voice out their opinions. I want them to know that their opinions mattered. Okay, the impact is students' critical thinking have improved since they are able to justify their opinion. Okay, besides that, we also integrated higher order thinking skills in co-curricular activity. Like this one, we did one pupil, one project. Okay, as shown in the picture, the students are doing group activity. They use recycled items to create a replica of KLCC. So they are doing it in group work. Okay, so they use their creativity, their critical thinking, okay, in the first picture. In the second picture, as you can see, it's a picture of students doing emergency aid, right? Okay, so for this activity, the teacher gave them situation. For example, you found your friend lying on the street. Okay, what should you do? Or maybe stating that the hand is injured. So what should you do? So they need to figure out what kind of emergency aid that is suitable with the situation. We didn't just simply ask them, okay, make the okay, now in group, please use the bandage and what is the suitable for example, what is the suitable emergency aid for whatever. So we make it like a problem solving situation so they can think with their friends and decide what is the best emergency aid for the person. Okay, besides that, we also did this one thing whereby the students create something, okay, and then they promote their it's like innovation, and they promote their invention to the others. Okay, and this is what I call, we can see that this is also integrated with entrepreneurship skill. Okay, next, this is what I did in my class. This is my favorite, okay, 2 stars and a wish. Okay, during gallery walk, instead of simply asking the students to give comments and criticism, we can guide them. For example, if we ask the students, okay, give comments to your friend's work, sometimes they would feel clueless. What should I write? Okay, they don't know what to write. So we should, because they are young learners, we must bear in our mind, they are young learners. So we must give them framework like this, 2 stars and a wish. Okay, 2 stars are 2 things that they like, and a wish is one thing that they wish their friends would do better. Okay, for example, okay, this framework will generate ideas, okay, and they are young kids, so you can expect creative answers from them. So we as a teacher, we need to facilitate that creative answer. So they use their critical thinking to give comments to their friends too. Okay, next, I also love this exit ticket, okay, or reflection, 3, 2, 1, think. Okay, another framework in doing reflection. Okay, instead of at the end of the lesson, we ask the students, do you understand today's lesson? Do you enjoy it? And it's like a close-ended question, right? So the answer like yes or no answer only. So we can ask them open-ended question like this. Okay, so the students will answer, so the students will explain. Okay, so it will give them guidelines so they stay in the path. Okay, next, this is my research project, which is flipped classroom. Okay, in flipped classroom is different from traditional classroom. Usually in traditional classroom, we as a teacher we go to the class, and then we will teach the students, and then we will provide them with the homework, and they will do the homework at home after the lecture. But in flipped classroom, we give the homework first, which is the lecture video or any other task, okay, and they will do the classroom activities in school with us. Okay, so the 60 minutes can be maximized to do classroom activities. Okay, this is the framework that I developed for flipped classroom. Okay, before, as you can see here, there are before and while. Okay, before, the before activity is based on Bloom's taxonomy, the low tier, which is remember, understand, and apply. While is we are using higher order thinking skill, which are analyze, evaluate, and create, since the students are doing active learning in the classroom, right? Okay, so before teacher as instructor, because the teacher needs to prepare all the materials before the classroom. Okay, so the teacher as facilitator while in the classroom, because the teacher will only facilitate the students doing the activity, not lecturing anymore. Okay, student as independent learner, because they have to learn by themselves at home, and then students as active learners in the classroom. Okay, knowledge acquisition, which is a language input, while knowledge construction, which is students activity. Self-regulated learning, okay, this is where I use Google Classroom, whereby I will post the task, the video, and the students will do it by themselves. Okay, while in the classroom they will do group work, which is also collaborative learning. So before I provide the authentic material from YouTube, Google Expedition, and teachers video, I would like to explain more on the authentic material of the Google Expedition. Back in year 5 syllabus, there is one topic about space exploration or something related to International Space Station. So I asked them to, since they are at home, since they cannot bring their phone to the school, right? So they utilize their phone or tablet at home by watching by experiencing virtual reality or 360 video. So they feel like they are being in International Space Station. So when they go to the class, I ask them to write an essay about a day in International Space Station. They manage to write better because they already know how the International Space Station looks like, how is the experience, although we cannot go there, but they can experience it through virtual reality. Okay. The next, I also developed flipped classroom module where I put the higher analytical skills level according to the activities that that being done in the classroom, and also the pre-class activity and while class activity. All the learning materials is there. Okay, next I posted the task in Google Classroom. Okay, so I posted the video and also the task. Okay, and then I'm giving them the task. These are the students' responses because I want to make sure that they have done the task before they come to the class. Okay. Okay, in classroom, okay, we did active learning and collaborative activity. Okay, for example, gallery walk and also experiment. Okay, students can utilize 60 minutes of the lesson to complete the activity with the teacher as the facilitator. In a traditional classroom back then, I couldn't manage to do the experiment. For example, if I want to do the experiment like this, the clay volcano, the students have already watched the video at home, and when they go to the class, they already bring all the materials and apparatus needed to make the clay volcano. So I don't need to show the video again. I don't need to explain to them again. Okay, this is the first step, the second step, the third step. They don't need to know that anymore because they already know. So they don't have to hear it again and again. So we can straight away go to the main business of doing. Okay, so me as a teacher there, being a facilitator, so I'm helping them in conducting the activity in the classroom. Okay, so this is also the exit ticket that I mentioned just now, the reflection. Okay, students reflect on the lesson. They're able to use their critical thinking to analyze what they get from the lesson. So when I ask the question like this, what's one important thing you learned in class today? Okay, instead of asking, do you enjoy today's lesson? Okay, so they state that they learn about teamwork, okay, cooperation, work together. Okay, so the impacts of flipped classroom, students' learning performance have improved, students' motivation in English classroom also have improved, and students able to utilize higher order taking skills in the lesson. Okay, so how do I integrate flipped classroom or maybe blended learning during this doing PDPR or online learning? Okay, first you can ask your students to do pre-task activity before you conduct your Google Meet session. So since they already know what they are going to learn, so in the Google Meet session, they will become more active, and the Google Meet session will be interactive, two-way interactive session. It's not like one way whereby the teacher explaining and the students on mute listen. No, my Google Meet class, the students will be able to express their thought, will be able to explain on the topic. Like recently, for year 4, I would like to share for year 4 recently, where are you from, right? Okay, so I asked my students to find one thing about that they know about America, United States. So one of my students able to say that, they just got a new president. When I asked them, what's the name of the president? She can answer Mr. Joe Biden. So that is two-way interactions that we need, although we are doing online learning right now. Okay, so what's next? I'm going to share with you 4 simple steps in becoming higher order thinking skills teacher. Okay, first, professional learning community, PLC. This is so cliche, I know it, but we all have it in our school. We should make use of it. Okay, get together with a group of teachers and discuss how you can integrate higher order thinking skills in your lesson. We must know that my students are different with your students. Every student is different. Like Miss Amna showed just now, her students is from indigenous school, but she able to integrate higher order thinking skills in her lesson too. Okay, that is how maybe I can use the technology. She didn't even use technology, but she can integrate higher order thinking skills. So we must recognize we must recognize our own students' learning styles and also multiple intelligences. Okay, next is maximize the available resources. We have Johor English Digital Learning Resources, guys. Please use it, okay? You just can go to the site, get everything there from year 1 until form 6. And then you can use YouTube and social media. There are many great teachers who create content for English language, right? So you just reuse it, okay? I know that some teachers might feel overwhelmed that, oh, I need to make video for my students. My headmaster asked me to make video, but we must think that pedagogy should always drive technology, never the other way around. So we just utilize all the available resources that you have. I also applaud some of the teachers who use TikTok to introduce the lesson to the students within 60 seconds. That is brilliant. Okay, so I would like to share and I would like to emphasize, okay, this is a snippet, an extract from book Flip Your Learning from Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, which are the founder of Flip Classroom. In how to implement the Flip Classroom, the first thing that they mentioned about the video, homework, the videos, they didn't even mention about teachers creating their own video. They mentioned about teachers using other teachers' videos, because we have a lot of great videos that we can use out there. Okay, number 3, use higher order thinking skills, question stamps, and moral values. It will be a guideline for you when you want to ask questions. Okay, this is what I have with me in every lesson. Okay, so this is from these question stamps, higher order thinking skills question stamps. You can use these question stamps to ask students according to the thinking level. For example, analyze, you can ask why is it used, how does it work, okay, evaluate, what is the impact, what is the outcome, create, can you design something. So we can manipulate these question stamps to use in the classroom to ask questions, to encourage them to think. Next, moral values. Although I know that sometimes in 60 minutes, sometimes we couldn't even like touch about moral values because of the time limitation. But we can, with moral values, we can relate to the students' real life. Our lesson would be meaningless if they cannot relate. Okay, this will help them to think better since they can relate to the lesson. Okay, for example, you can ask, what can you get from our lesson today? Do you think it is good to? So let it be like the answer is from them. Okay, lastly is you have to utilize thinking tools. Okay, use I Think Map, graphic organizers, 6 thinking heads, SWOT analysis, and other thinking tools to encourage students' higher order thinking skills. For example, if you want your students to write an essay, before they write an essay, you ask them to create a mind map first. Okay, maybe you ask them to create a flow chart first. Okay, utilize the thinking tools. Okay, lastly, thinking is skilled work. It is not true that we are naturally endowed with the ability to think clearly and logically without learning how or without practicing. Okay, this is from A.E. Manda, a famous psychologist. So it's our responsibility to instill higher order thinking skills since young age. We cannot expect them when they are like 16 or 17 or when they go to the university later, they will have all the higher order thinking skills. No, we should nurture from young. So I've shown to you all of the steps to become higher order thinking skills teacher. So I challenge you. So let's do our best to prepare our kids for the future. I think, thank you. Okay, that's all from me. Over to you, Mr. Ermi.
All right, thank you, Cikgu Nisa. I believe that all the teachers out there are very excited and they can't really wait to apply what you have shared just now in application of higher order taking skills. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, and congratulations for the award.
Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, to spice up our final presentation for today's webinar, which I think she does not need to have introduction because she's already famous. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Cikgu Emira Nabila binti Ramli from SMK Pasir Gudang. Over to you, Cikgu Emira.
Okay, thank you very much to Mr. Ermi bin Kasaf from the Johor State Education Department. I would also like to thank our viewers for today who have kindly tuned in. I am definitely very humbled and excited at the same time to be speaking alongside my co-panelists for today, who are award winners in their niche areas. So for my part of the presentation, I would like to just share a personal narrative of me as a teacher as well as a lesson designer. So I would like to start off with this quotation here, whereby success can be metaphorically considered as the tip of an iceberg, whereby underlying that success would be all the sleep deprivation, the amount of tears and sweat that we have to sacrifice. So with that being said, for us as teachers, I believe that our motivation should always be our learners, and that awards are simply the byproducts of our efforts in molding our future generation. So this is my journey. I started off with my practicum year, whereby I was awarded by my university, Canterbury Christchurch University, the B.Ed TESOL Practicum Award. This is my lecturer coming down to observe me teaching my Form 1 students in SMK Agama Kuala Lumpur, whereby I would like to share the activity that I did with them, which is called a recycled poetry activity, whereby I, as a teacher, I cut out strips of newspaper headlines for the students to choose and for them to paste on art blocks like this one here. So the objective of this particular activity was to get students to engage in critical thinking, whereby they express their anger and their frustration towards the mismanagement of the resources by human beings on planet Earth. So it does look like a very simple activity, but I do believe that there is the incorporation of higher order thinking skills. So now that we have transitioned towards a more digitalized manner of conducting our lessons due to the unprecedented global pandemic that we are experiencing right now, so our tangible materials have now shifted to more digital materials. So I would like to encourage our teachers who would also like to use newspaper articles like I did just now to go and check out this website here. It's called the Breaking News English Lesson website, whereby we can have news lesson transformed into listening lessons, reading lessons, grammar, spelling, and a play with words. So for this particular article here, it is entitled Online Learning and Lessons to Continue in 2021. It was published on 2nd January, so it's a very current newspaper article. So building on this particular website, there are many activities. There is a vast array of activities that teachers can choose from. Like this one here would be good for set induction, whereby we can have our students engage in role playing. We can give them different subjects for them to justify why their subject is best learned online. So from there, we can have our learners explore the advantages and the disadvantages of learning online as well as face-to-face. So building on that particular newspaper article, I somehow designed a full lesson, starting off with this particular video which I recorded on Canva. So I took the topic of online learning and face-to-face learning and used some of the sentences from the newspaper article to put in my Canva video. I also used some information from YouTubers on YouTube who have given some information about how to build a good paragraph and made it into my own video here. From the inset of this slide here, you can see that my student has written a digital note after watching my video, laying out some of the step-by-step procedure of building a good and strong paragraph. After that, what I did was I posted this particular question on Padlet, whereby I asked my students, teenagers cannot live without social media, why? So it does give me a sense of satisfaction when students are able to apply the knowledge that they have received from the Canva video just now, as well as the input that they received from the newspaper article, to somehow apply it on their Padlet here. So the fact that they use topic sentences, supporting details, concluding sentences does show that they have really somehow embraced the concept of building a good and coherent paragraph. I believe that I was also very lucky to be able to conduct hybrid or blended learning as well as a flipped classroom, because I gave the video a few days before the actual lesson. So during the lesson, they come a bit more prepared about the topic, and I somehow conducted like a competition between the boys and the girls. So the boys would have to justify why face-to-face learning is better, and the girls would justify why online learning is better. So it was a competition, and I asked one student at a time to go to the board and write one sentence before the next student would have to support the first student's sentence. So here I would like them to embrace the concept of writing a paragraph very efficiently and very coherently. We then transfer that paragraph onto Google document. So the good thing about using Google document would be that I, as a teacher, I would be able to use the suggesting mode in order to edit my students' essays. And then I gave them a screenshot of this particular essay on their Telegram so that they can do their own editing in their exercise book. So this would be the boys' paragraph, and here would be the girls' paragraph. So there are some things that I've corrected, like spelling, grammar, and whatnot. So from the example that I've given just now, I've come to a conclusion that maybe in order for us to design our lessons for home-based learning, maybe we can have. So number one is for us to identify what are our students' needs. Like for me, my students are SPM students, both the 2020 and the 2021 batch. So I would like them to learn more about writing. So that's why I focus a bit more on writing and the tools for teaching writing. Number two is for us to decide on the topic and the theme. So since the topic of online learning and face-to-face, so I decided to use line for that purpose, so that students have more input when they write their essay. And the third one is for us to select materials and technological tools. So the difference between materials would be that materials, an example of materials would be the newspaper article, whereby students read the newspaper article, and the technological tool would be the tools that ease the process of me delivering my content to my students, such as the Canva, Padlet, as well as the Google document. And then materials and technological tools further before we ask our learners to do the same thing. Like for me, before I recorded my Canva video, of course, there needs to be a bit of exploration on how to develop the slides, how to record my in language classrooms, and that was before order as well as before all this idea of home-based learning. So they came down to Malaysia to observe me teaching my Form 4 students on the topic of peace, war and humanity. And they did enter a few of our meetings in school, and their observation was that administration as compared to professional development. But now when I sometimes simplicity is the best when it comes to this, be talking about the lesson than simply just describing it. But I've done quite a few sharing of this particular lesson. So I hope for people who have already known what the lesson is about, you can just look at the analysis of the lesson. So this would be an overview of my 21st century lesson. So maybe for our viewers for today, later on, you can just scan this QR code to have an overview video produced by the performance and delivery unit. When I rewatch my own video, it does somehow send chills down my spine. I did feel a bit scared looking at my last sentence in that video, whereby I said that if I do not teach using 21st century skills, my students would be deprived of the necessary skills to prepare them for the future. And I definitely did not have a pandemic in mind at that time, but now we can see how crucial it is for teachers and students to have some sort of a 21st century learning and teaching skills. So among the criteria for that particular competition was 4C and 1V, and I believe that my lesson did have a lot of values and ethics incorporated in the lesson, which is why perhaps it bagged the recognition. So I would like to just briefly go through the activities that I did. So it was designed in the form of a web quest, whereby students have to complete missions in order to move to the next stage of the lesson. So mission 1 was for them to tweet words of support as I gave students this video here. It is a very heart-wrenching video of a Syrian child begging for food for his family instead of for himself. So I did receive some very emotional comments from my students. So this would be what I call as my virtual whiteboard. I do put this header here for the purpose of engaging my learners' emotions, getting them a bit more immersed in the situation. I posted, this is the second activity, I posted pictures of the Syrian conflict, and then I asked students questions like this before they are expected to build a couplet. So like the poetry, recycled poetry exercise just now somehow has an influence on me designing this part of the lesson, whereby I included a bit of literature in. So I asked my students what emotions do they feel, and we brainstorm words like commotion as well as explosion, for example, and they come out with tweets like this one here. I am in confusion. Why are there always detonations? So that is a tweet by my student. So the good thing about using Twitter is that they can easily have a virtual gallery walk. They can like other students' responses. And then I, as a teacher, I can respond to the students in real time as well. The third mission was for them to listen to a song and on YouTube, and then they fill in the blanks of song lyric by Mahir Zain here. So song lyrics would be a very rich resource of language learning, whereby we can have students identify parts of speech. We can have them unravel the underlying messages behind the song lyrics. So it's a very rich resource for language learning. Other than that, we can also develop students' creativity by asking them to change song lyrics. Like this one here, I asked my students in another lesson to change the Earth song into their own and use their own vocabulary, so that I can see how creatively they can do the task. The next mission was for my students to read online articles, and then they have to somehow summarize the online articles in the form of a Padlet like this one. They could also insert videos as well as quotations and pictures and GIFs, so that they can give a visually appealing presentation when they present this information to their friends. And the last thing, the last activity was for my students to engage in an international press conference. And I do want to reiterate the importance of having enough scaffolding for students before we expect them to do such exercises like this, whereby we expect them to do speaking. So students need to be given enough input, like the input about the Liberal Leader of Canada, Mercy member, they had this information when they read the articles online. So make sure that we give enough scaffolding before we expect students to produce anything. So at the end of the day, that particular lesson aimed to instill feelings of empathy through a humanity-based lesson. I believe I have successfully done that when I watched my student here present as the Syrian mother, and she actually cried during that particular lesson, showing how she has this feeling of empathy towards the Syrian people. So among the aims of my web quest on peace, war, and humanity would be for me as a teacher to use resources from the internet for them to solve missions, because that is definitely a very relevant thing to do, especially right now, because the internet is the main resource for our students now. And then secondly is for them to use social media. I do think that I wanted to emulate their lived experience, whereby they use a lot of social media. So other than using social media for the purpose of entertainment, they can also use it for education. And lastly is for them to prepare themselves to speak at the international conference, and I was hoping to develop their confidence as well as speaking skills. So among the benefits of using a web quest was that I was able to promote an inquiry-based learning, whereby during that particular lesson, there was in no way me imposing myself on the learners and being the omniscient one who conveys or imparts knowledge. It was more of me giving them questions and giving them problems to solve. And then I was also able to promote an inductive approach in teaching and learning, whereby students gather information, they derive their own conclusions about the situations, and at the end, they were able to become independent thinkers. So it was definitely a very much student-centered lesson. And I do believe that I have been able to help them develop more and more autonomy in learning. So how have I adapted the ideas in my showcase lesson to suit my teaching context so far? Among them would be the use of social media like Instagram. Other than using Twitter, I also use Instagram to post pictures. I also use Padlets very religiously, whereby Padlets are also downloaded into printable materials in our school, and then we turned it into modules for the SPM students to make reference to. And then I've also started exploring the use of virtual reality video, especially for my open classroom and lesson study. So to demonstrate that, this would be the Instagram story and the video responses that I've received from my students. So they gave me sentences, and then I gave video responses to correct their sentences grammatically. And this would be the virtual reality video that I use during an open classroom. The good thing about using virtual reality video is that it provides our learners with a feast for their eyes, as well as it can sometimes be very dense with technical terms and language. The speaker in this virtual reality video speaks very much like a documentary, so it does give a very rich resource for my learners. This would be the use of a virtual screen on Google Meet. It is called Classroom Screen. There are many applications on Classroom Screen that I have been able to use for my speaking class with the learners, such as the timer. There is an app for me to randomly select students' name, and there is also a dice there. I use the dice for this virtual board game with my learners for the speaking task. And this one is actually one exercise that I got from a teacher from SMK Tun Fatimah, teacher Nur Safika binti Sapar, who has developed her own Instagram account for the purpose of collecting materials. With that being said, some of the plans that I have for my future lessons would be to do the same. I also want to build a page for the purpose of collecting materials, so that, you know, other teachers can refer to, I can refer to my own materials as well and make improvements from there. So it's a good reflection for teachers. Secondly is for us to have more materials uploaded on the JEDLR platform, so that we can have this rich resource of information, and then we can maximize the resource that we have online. The third thing is for teachers who are keen on recording videos. You can definitely use YouTube as a platform. Like for me, last time I used Canva, and I was advised to upload it on YouTube for the purpose of making the video more user-friendly, and then I could get to see how many views have been reached, for the purpose of seeing what sort of audience am I able to receive. And then lastly, I would definitely want to use more and more resources from other teachers. I would like to echo what Ms. Nisa has said just now, so that we don't become overwhelmed, so that we don't find home-based learning too daunting for us. At the end of the day, we just want to avoid being too burnt out as we prepare ourselves for home-based learning. So I would like to end with this quotation here. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So if we find that sometimes we don't reach a certain level of satisfaction when we design our home-based learning lessons, maybe we can just reflect on this quotation and understand that we are all simply explorers right now, because during these unprecedented times of having to teach during a global pandemic, we are not prepared, but we do try our best to design the best lessons for our learners. So with that being said, I would like to wish our viewers happy lesson designing, and hopefully this has been beneficial for everyone. And do subscribe to the JEDLR YouTube channel for more ideas and inspiration. So over to you, Mr. Ermi, and thank you, viewers, for listening.
Okay, thank you, Cikgu Emira. I really like the word, the phrase, lesson designer. So we are lesson designers, yeah? Okay, I'm sure that all the teachers out there, especially English teachers, they have implemented the PAK 21 in their lessons, see? So teachers out there, so please take this opportunity to grab as many as you can from this sharing, yeah, because what are you wasting? What are you waiting for? Because now you have to take this golden opportunity to improve professional development as well as proficiency, and giving more recognition for your own satisfaction of teaching. Okay, all right. Thank you, Cikgu Emira.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have come to the Q&A session. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to drop your questions in the comment section, so we will attend to your question. So maybe I believe that you want to ask a lot of questions to all our presenters, yeah? Do we have any question from the viewers? Okay, this is from Cikgu Mimi Najwa Zainal. She asks, what type of guidance provided to those who do not have gadget or internet? Do the students need to complete the same module with those who have gadget or internet? I think I would throw this question to Cikgu Amnah.
Right. First of all, thank you for the question. Right. The first question is about what type of guidance provided to those who don't have gadgets. So actually, I prepared notes for them, and then after that, we also have. I also received help from community and parents who have internet connection. They actually show take the videos or for example if the lesson for that day is about I need a student to record because I need to hear, for example, phonics, right? We need to hear their voice because we need to hear whether their pronunciation or they produce the the sound correctly. So that's where I got help from a community and parents who have internet. Okay. And second is about student whether they need to complete the same module. Actually, I prepared different level of different level and different level. For example, the popsicle stick. For example, the first one is we have 5 colors. So for those who have for those who in a low level, they will need to complete 3 colors only, and then for the higher level, they need to use five popsicle. And for lesson that I need to follow the syllabus, I use a different file, and put it in those file according to level. So that's how I managed to teach a student with low or no gadgets. Okay, thank you. Hope it will help you all.
Thank you, Cikgu Amnah. All right, another question. This question is from Cikgu Nurul Suhada binti. Oh, sorry. Okay, can I have the questions back? Can't see the questions. Okay, this is to Cikgu Nisa. Can you give tips to teach HOTS to the weak learners?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ermi, and thank you to Ms. Tira for asking the question. Okay, so I know that many teachers are worried on how to teach higher order thinking skills to the weak learners, right? Since they are maybe in low proficiency students. So what I practice is I always teach them the words first, vocabulary first. Okay, so without the vocabulary, if we didn't teach them the words first, then how can we ask the questions, right? So once they grasp the idea of the vocabulary, then the words and the meaning and all, so then only we can start with the low order thinking skills questions first, then only we move up to the higher order thinking skills questions. But maybe if they are weak learners, so we can just go up to the apply and analyze only. Okay, start with that. And then we must scaffold them. Okay, like what Miss Emira said just now, scaffolding is really important. So as now in the first place, the teacher need to train the students first, then only we let them go bit by bit. Okay, then only we can go to the higher order thinking, more higher order thinking skills questions like creating and also evaluating.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, another tips before I forgot. Okay, another tips is just like I said just now, focus on moral values because this is what is close to them. Relate to them. If we relate to them, they will understand more and they can give a relevant answer to our questions.
Okay.
That's
Thank you, Cikgu Nisa. All right, next question. I can see there are many questions. Okay, can element of 21st century teaching and learning implemented in this situation pandemic? So this is from Dr. Asno Hisham Adam. Thank you, Doctor, for watching us. Can 21st century learning, teaching and learning be implemented in this pandemic situation, Cikgu Emira?
I believe that it goes without saying that definitely during this pandemic is the best time for us to implement 21st century teaching and learning. Like the criteria just now, like collaboration, communication, critical thinking skill, can all be incorporated in our home-based learning lesson, especially when we use technology for the purpose of easing the process of conveying the message. So do use tools which are very much familiar with our learners. 21st century teaching and learning does not have to be using advanced technology, but rather what suits our learners best. If they are comfortable with the use of Padlet and it's easy enough for them, then use that. If they are more comfortable with using more advanced technology, then you can definitely ask them to build videos using editing tools, for example. So you suit your learners with the context of our own teaching.
Yeah, thank you, Emira. Okay, this is from Keluarga Safia. Do you have any creative ideas for us to start the class during the pre-lesson speaking skill in the Google Meet other than games? There's a note for the mixed ability pupils. Okay, who want to answer these questions? Perhaps Cikgu Amnah can answer this.
Right. I think for Google Meet, other than games, I think they can like sharing. For example, for my class, we cannot use real time, but if we do have real time, I think I can ask them to share what they do or what they are doing at their house, so that it actually connected with their friends as well. So I think maybe that's one of the activities that can be done for that. Thank you.
Okay, I hope that the question has been answered by Cikgu Amnah. Okay, do we have more questions? Okay, this is from Hana Fitra Fauzi. How to deal with pupil that doesn't do their part for flipped classroom? Early research and come to class with empty-handed is a fact. The teacher's excitement to teach and their friends in group work. Okay, how is it, Cikgu Nisa? I can see that you have a broad smile there.
Yes, because I feel her. Okay, I feel you, Miss Hannah. You are not alone. I also felt the same way before. There are tons of times my students didn't do the work as assigned, but perhaps because in Google Classroom we can see whether they managed to do it before the class, right? So we can see whether they have did the task or not. So we give reminders to them to make sure, or just before the lesson, early in the morning, I will ask them again, because I know that I will conduct flipped classroom, right? So I will ask them again whether they have watched the video, and I will find the time for them to watch the video before the lesson, so that they don't disrupt their friends who are very excited to do the learning activities in the classroom. So we need to go beyond that, because they are primary learners, right? So we have to give more support to them.
Okay, right. Thank you, Cikgu Nisa. All right, can we have one more questions before we end our session? Do we have one more question? Okay, all right, from Cikgu Sabaria Abu Bakar. Okay, how to teach reading during MCO to pupil without internet access? Okay, I would like to throw this question to Cikgu Emira. So, can you share your thought?
Teaching reading during MCO to pupils without internet access, maybe probably at a moment where we were supposed to teach them, for students who cannot enter our class for reading classes, what I would do is I would use Screencastify to record myself conducting the reading session with the students, and then I post that particular video. Like a video on Google Meet can also be posted for students who do not have access at that particular time. After they have received their data and so on, they can watch after the session instead of during that session that we do the teaching. Another method is, of course, for us to give links of reading materials for them to read on their own, using their own pace at their own time that they are comfortable doing so. So we can also have reading materials posted on Delima, but for students who cannot have access to the internet, what they can do is they can have their friends giving the downloadable printable materials. There are instances where teachers go to the students' houses to give modules which are tangible as well.
All right. Okay. Thank you to all the presenters. I believe that there will be more questions. Don't feel hesitate to share the question in the comment section because we will attend to all the questions later. Yeah. Okay. I would like to thank again to our presenters, Cikgu Amnahmalihah Marzuki, Cikgu Khairunnisa Sharom, and Cikgu Emira Nabila for being with us to present, to inspire all the teachers out there with your sharing and best practices just now. I also would like to give credit to our webinar hosts for today, Cikgu Hanif Azhar and Cikgu Hakim. All right. So also from on behalf of Johor English Digital Learning Resources team, I would like to thank to all the viewers out there for watching us, and don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to click the bell so that you will get notification on our next webinars. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I promised earlier, so we will share with you the QR code as you can see on the screen. This is a QR code and the link for you to earn professional development credit in SPL KPM, right? So I would like to thank to all of you, to all the presenters, to all the viewers, to all the hosts for being with us from 2:30 just now until the end. So until then, so thank you everyone, goodbye, and stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.